What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Powerhouse Mentality podcast. I am your host. I'm Caitlin Kenna-Smith. And today, honestly, the topic that I'm going to talk about has a lot of different stories behind it. And it kind of came to me this morning as I was trying to think about different topics that I could talk about this week, because I've been dealing with a little bit of that, creator's block or writer's block, where I have all of these things swirling around in my mind, but I don't really know how to articulate it. And, this was the first thing that popped up, and I said, you know what, I feel like a lot of people could probably relate to this, and a lot of people could probably get value from this. So let's go back. Right now, it is Tuesday, April 9th that I'm recording this, and yesterday was the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship game. And the night before that, or the day before that, was the Women's NCAA Basketball Championship game. And I love college basketball. I fucking love watching college basketball. In fact, when I was younger, when I was in middle school and high school, I used to love watching college basketball. March Madness was my favorite time of year. And getting into college, having an eating disorder, getting into my career, and falling into all these different avenues of life, I just kind of lost touch with it. I always just loved it and would kind of rekindle that love when I would see reels or different videos on Instagram or Facebook, but I never really got back into it. But over the last week and a half, I really started to focus on watching the Final Four games and kind of getting into it and just really enjoying it again, because I fucking love the game of basketball. And I played basketball the majority of my life going into college. In fact, I wanted to play college basketball, but we'll get into the reason why I didn't, and hopefully it'll kind of give you guys a little bit of lessons and value. My dad was the best high school basketball player in the state of New York. He went to college basketball, fucking fumbled his scholarship because he partied too much. And that was something that I always learned from. And that's why I never fell into alcohol, drugs, partying, because I knew that it could have the potential to ruin your life if you lose control of it. So naturally, my dad we lived in a pretty small town in Rockaway Beach, New York, and your neighbors know you. Everybody knows you, and there's always gossip around. So everybody knew me as the daughter of the star high school basketball player. And same thing with my brother. He was the star, because my dad was the star. Obviously, that's a problem that a lot of people fall into, is when they are the star of their high school or college basketball team. We'll use that as an example. They continue to talk about back in high school, back in college, and then they lose touch with, well, I don't care what the fuck you've done. What are you doing right now? Because that's what actually matters, is the impact or the success that you're driving forward now. And my dad will probably forever be the person who says, back in college, back in high school. And again, I learned from all of that. But the reason I'm bringing all of this up is to kind of paint the picture. So when I went into high school, I played on junior varsity 2 years, and I went to a basketball camp one summer where the coach of the varsity team said, hey, if you try out for varsity, there's always a spot for you, because I performed well at that basketball camp. And I'll be completely fucking honest with you guys. I was a bench warmer my JV years. I rode that bench hard. And it's something that really fucking pissed me off, but it drove me to work harder outside of that. Now, I was the star of the rec team, but when it came to high school, I wasn't. And was it because I wasn't given the opportunity? Maybe, but when I was given the opportunity, I did a really good job. There was one game where I did play because we were beating the other team by fucking 30 points. And I performed really well, and I was happy with that. But I never really played in the game as much as I wanted to. And a lot of it comes down to the lack of confidence that I had in myself as a player. I would wake up before school and go shoot. I would do whatever it took that summer going from that year going from sophomore to junior year. I really went all in on it. But ultimately, I didn't try out for varsity in my junior year. And it's coming up because I spoke to Stone about it the other day where I was like, I really fucking loved basketball. When we were talking about the women's game, and it was like, I really wanted to play, like, even in, like, a Division III, like, college basketball, and be a college basketball athlete. That's something that I really wanted because I just fucking love the game. And I told him, I was like, yeah, that one summer the varsity coach did tell me, like, you always have a spot on varsity if you try out. And I didn't try out. And it's one of those things that you look back on and you're like, well, what if I did? Because you have a little bit of that regret. And the regret doesn't come from not doing it, because we can make a decision to not do something and be okay with that choice, because whatever choice you make at the end of the day, if you're torn between two different things, you're going to make the decision, and then it's up to you through action to make that decision the right decision. It's the way that it happened. It's the reason why I didn't try out. I always chalked it up to I was just going to focus on cross country, which is kind of bullshit because cross country season is in the fall and basketball season is in the winter. And there are many, many, many people who do all of the things, a fall sport, a winter sport, a spring sport when they're in high school. But for me at the time, I had fucking zero confidence in myself, like zero. Like, I was the kid who always wore a hoodie to school because I hated my body and I hated the way that I looked and I didn't want anybody to pay attention to me. And I was always the super quiet person that everybody thought was fucking weird because I was quiet when in all reality, I was just fucking not confident in myself. And every single human being in that high school intimidated me. For no reason. Like, y'all think I can't shut up now? Because I can't. Because I've earned the ability to build confidence. And I only did that through action. Because I'm a true believer that action cures everything. But I'm also a true believer that everything happens for a reason. So even though maybe I didn't try out for the basketball team that year, everything happens for a reason. The reason why I didn't try out was because I felt like all of the girls on the team didn't like me. So I didn't even try. And that's such a dumb reason when you think back to it. Because when you're in high school, you have all of these thoughts in your mind that, like, this is like the most important thing right now. And it is, I guess, because you're high school and it's literally all consuming of your life. But it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. It really doesn't. Because who you are in high school is absolutely not who you are in your adult life. And if it is, then fuck, you need to make some changes probably. But we grow and evolve as humans. And high school is just a little blip or a little drop in the pan or like a flash in the pan. And for me, I think I took high school much too seriously in the fact where I allowed it to hold me back from being the person that I truly wanted to be and fully devoting and going all in on my dreams. And that's something that I've learned from, because now in my adult life, I think about those moments and I think I'm not going to walk away from something and have the regret that I did from a moment like that. And again, is this a big fucking deal? No, it's not, because I think that I'm pretty successful for what I've done, and it has nothing to do with trying out for varsity basketball. But it always makes me think, because I think so many of us find ourselves in those situations where we don't do something that we want to do because of the fear of what other people are going to think of us, or because we think, and we've created this story in our mind, that somebody doesn't like us, and we're going to allow that person's opinion to hold us back from living the life that we desire. My mom tells me this story all of the time. When she was in college, she wanted to be a vet. That was what she was set to do. She wanted to be a vet her entire life. She loves animals, she loves working with animals, and she wanted to be a vet. That's all that she wanted. However, her college guidance counselor told her that she didn't have the grades to go to veterinary school or to get into veterinary school to make that her career. Which, number one, is extremely fucked up for a guidance counselor to talk down on someone's dreams. If that person wants something, you don't tell them you can't have it. You say, okay, right now you're not in the position where you can have it, but here's what we can do to make it happen. That's your job as a guidance counselor. And I had a very similar experience with my guidance counselor, so it's not a one-off experience. I, because my mom wanted to be a vet, wanted to also be a vet. And I told her I wanted to be a vet. And she told me, you don't have the grades to get into veterinary school. Fuck, it's like a full circle situation. However, I'm a little bit more hard-headed than my mother, where I'm not going to listen to I'm not going to listen to somebody who tells me something that, like, I can't do. If you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to be like, fuck you, I'm going to do it just in spite of you. But I did take a chance. I started working on my grades to bring them up a little bit. It's not that I had terrible grades. It's just to get into veterinary school, it's very competitive. I did an internship at a veterinary clinic in New York, and I did one day, and I fucking hated it. And I realized, nope, I can't do this. They were putting cats down. I was like, not what I want to do. So I took the chance, and I realized, okay, this isn't what I want to do. So now what do I want to do? As opposed to hearing what somebody said to me and listening to them and letting them dictate my success, my happiness, my future. Unfortunately, my mom did listen. And she tells the story all the time. My mom has been out of college for a very, very long time. Shout out to my mom who turned 60 this year. And she still tells that story. Because it's something that she regrets. And I hate that. And the reason why I'm telling you these stories is because I know that there's a moment in your life where you can look back and think the same damn thing. Or maybe it's something that's happening right now in your life. But I don't want you to be telling that story 40 years later. Saying, I wish I did that. Or what if I did that? You know, we launched the Powerhouse Mentality business last week. Shout out to all of you guys who have shown us incredible support, and we can't wait to deliver you extreme value along this journey and grow together. But the amount of people who have told me over the last 2 to 3 years, 4 or 5 years, in fact, that you're a fucking idiot for doing what I do in life, for posting valuable content on social media, for sharing my stories on this podcast, for training as a CrossFit athlete to go to the CrossFit Games, for going all in on myself, for not taking the generic 9-to-5 job. I've been called a fucking idiot by people I love and respect. And I want you to learn from that, because people call me a fucking idiot all the time, and I say, cool, moving on. Because I no longer care about what somebody else thinks of me unless that person matters to me. And even if that person does matter to me, because I've had family members tell me that, there's nothing wrong with having to cut somebody out of your life because they don't see your vision. And when they do see your vision, they'll be knocking at your door. And that's one of the hardest decisions you have to make if you're trying to accomplish anything big in your life. Even if that's just as simple as trying to accomplish a goal with your fitness, lose a specific amount of weight. You're going to have people who are going to talk shit at you, who are like, why are you tracking your macros? Can you even eat that? Is that on your plan? Don't you have to go to the gym? Fuck you. Yeah, I do, in fact. And yeah, I am going to track my macros. And yeah, I am going to weigh out my food because it's important to me and it's getting me to the life that I desire. And if you can't do that, and if you can't show me support, that's their problem, not yours. Because those who matter won't mind. But those who mind don't matter. And I will take that to my grave. Those who mind don't fucking matter. Can they come along? Maybe. But that's your decision. Always. Always your decision. And again, like I said, it's one of the most difficult decisions that you may have to make. Because there are going to be people who show you disrespect on your journey. But again, that's not your problem, that's theirs. And the reason why they're showing you disrespect as you're beginning to level up your life is because they don't have the discipline to do it. And they're taking that out on you. So you just got to keep on moving. The purpose of today's podcast was to give you a little bit of insight on why it's so important for you to be a you pleaser and not a people pleaser. I tell this to my clients all the time. You got to be a you pleaser, not a people pleaser. A lot of people find themselves being people pleasers, and then they wake up one day and realize that they've been living a life for somebody else and not themselves. And that's a fucking horrible way to wake up. Or you don't go all in on something in your life because you are a little bit afraid to take action, or you're afraid you might fail, or you're afraid of what other people are going to think about you. And then you wake up one day and you realize, fuck, I've been doing a job that I hate for the last 20 years and I have no fulfillment in my life. That's horrible. And nobody deserves that. So you matter, and your dreams, your goals, they matter too. You get one life. You get one opportunity to be able to create the life that you want. So do what you need to do to make that happen, and don't let anybody else or anything else dictate your happiness and success. That's all on you. Now go out today, guys, and do one thing that's going to take you one step closer to where you truly want to be.